Good day, it's Lord Kuma. Um, this second video, I was planning on doing a sort of another open letter, this time to Matthew Colville. Um, but I'm not going to do that. Whereas in my letter to Matthew Mercer had more interesting story and substance to it to warrant a letter. My connection to, or my inspiration from Matt Colville is not related to any books he's written, any streams that he's put out there, like the Chain of Acheron. Um, uh, it has more to do with the instructional series of videos that he published right here on YouTube. They're on Matt Colville's site. You can look those up. It's called How to Run the Game. There's several dozen videos in there to help new dungeon masters uh, get started and get acclimated to running a D&D game that is fun for everybody. Um, Sorry if my lighting is a little off. My camera is having troubles when the light is on with overheating, I guess. I don't know. Something I'm going to have to look into, but I didn't feel like messing with it tonight. Um, but the inspiration that I drew from Matt Colville um, wasn't so much from a storytelling standpoint or even a mechanical standpoint. It was more of a, hey, you, yes, you can do this. Here's a series of videos that will tell you how to do this. And it it it's been very unique. I've seen other people do dungeon master tips and how to run a game videos and things like that, but he really went over and above with the detail. He would take a slice of what needed to be done in the game. Say, running an encounter, running an NPC, running a combat, building a world, building a town. Just all these little slivers of what it takes to run a D&D campaign, and or any role-playing game for that matter. Just doesn't have to be D&D. And kind of broke it down and said, "Here, this is how I did it. This is how it can be done. Uh, uh, Other than how I did it. These aren't all the right answers, but these will point you in the right direction." And he gives you a little shove in the back and says, "Go for it." Um, Running D&D is it's uniquely rewarding, and it is not as hard as I thought it was going to be to run in some ways, much harder in other ways. Um, I hadn't anticipated keeping up with balancing the players versus the things that I run, NPC wise and bad guy wise, and kind of maintaining that decent balance and fairness to the encounters and the combats and things like that. I also, keeping track of the story, keeping track of where we're going, where we're supposed to go, how this affects the overall arc, and then the part that was the least hard for me, believe it or not, was just reimagining things on the fly. Um, my characters chose door A instead of door B, and choosing door A was where they didn't want to go, and I needed them to go to door B. Now what? Um, Instead of letting it just screw my entire plot thread that I was weaving, my brain just goes, and looks at the plot thread and says, well, they were supposed to go here, but they're going there, and okay, so I'm going to pick this up and put it over there. Okay, they went there. They're still going to run into what they would have went to if they went to the other one. And that's totally legit to be able to do that. Um, that's why I'm the dungeon master. That's my job. However, Matt's videos went so much more than that. Just, I think there's almost 90, if not 90, maybe a few more than that now, on how to run the game, and it's just so many different aspects of it. And I've watched them all, probably at least twice. Some I enjoyed a little bit more than others. Some pertained to what I was doing more than others. But he's another one that, like the crew over at Critical Role, that took his hobby and turned it into first a career in tabletop gaming and computer roleplay gaming and things like that, and not only turned it into a career, but then turned it into a company that's publishing their own materials. Um, Strongholds and Followers being the first book in that incarnation. They just finished up a Kickstarter for their second incarnation, which I believe is I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody in the comments, if you want to leave a comment and remind me of what the name of that second book was. I'm sorry, Matt. It's late. I apologize. But yeah, the as much as Matt Mercer inspired me artistically, as far as how to be descriptive in the game, in the context of the game, and how to run encounters and how to build worlds and things like that. Matt Colville inspired me through the nuts and bolts of the game. The down in the dirt, nitty gritty, you want to know how to do it? This is how you can do it. This doesn't mean this is how you have to do it. This is how you can do it. And I will forever be grateful for that. I would not be running 2 campaigns of Dungeons and Dragons concurrently and having them semi-interact with each other. Not so much. The Teldore campaign isn't interacting with Waterdeep, okay? But I had my daughter, for her birthday, I ran a one-shot for her and her friends over in Ohio at her apartment, and they were a higher level than my current campaign is. They came in at level 10 for this one-shot, and I ran them through a level of a dungeon that was meant to challenge them, and they had to get to the end to find a key. But the key they had to find is going to end up being delivered to a person who is in the world of my characters. And so it will be delivered to my players' characters in my regular campaign, having been found and retrieved by my daughter's friends in a one-shot. And everybody thought that was really cool. It was a really cool idea, and, it wasn't so much that I thought it was a cool idea per se to be able to do something like that, but it was something that just kind of struck me out of the blue, and I went with it. Like, it literally struck me out of the blue halfway through that dungeon. It was like, maybe this would be cool if I could tie this one shot into my Waterdeep campaign and have this group assist my group in retrieving an artifact that they're going to need or that they do need. And then maybe, and my daughter came up with this, total props to Reagan for this. She said, it would be really cool if the two groups could play together for a couple of sessions or for a session to help each other out through a big section of the dungeon or through a big adventure or whatever. sort of like a reinforcement group to help in a tough spot, um, because one of our characters helped them out at the end of the one shot to defeat the person who had hired them and was going to double cross them. I'm not going to give any spoilers on it because I'm probably going to make some videos on this later on. But if anybody if anybody knows of Jaraxel Boehner, I think that's how you pronounce his name. The Drow. Uh, I'm not. I don't want to call his group. Um, you know, spies or you know, uh, some sort of illegal organization. I'm sure they're not 100% legal, but they're not. They're really not just spies, and they're really not just a criminal organization. That's the word I was looking for. They're sort of like all of that, except they're drow and they live on a ship. No spoilers. Um, so in my particular world, yeah, Jaraxel is no more. So they get to skip that entire section of Waterdeep Dragon Heist with Jaraxel and his folk because, well, he dead. Uh, so anyway, Matthew Colville inspired that kind of stuff, that kind of nonsense that I just described to you. Um, if it wasn't for those running the game videos and my study of them, I wouldn't be running a game right now. I wouldn't be running one game, let alone two. I didn't think I would ever be able to do this. I played those other couple campaigns, and they're explaining stuff to me like, how to add this and do that, and it's your turn, and you got this power, and it was a 4th edition game, so you had powers. I was confused as hell. I had no idea what was going on. So, when the opportunity arose where people were asking around, anybody that's running a game, this, that, I said, if we're so desperate around here for DMs, somebody to actually run a game, the hell with it, I'll run a game. And I started small with the kids and the fiance, and then a friend of ours joined that group who was really experienced, and she joined that group. And then all of that group, except for my son and 4 other friends, joined the second campaign, which is the real campaign, which is the one I told everybody that I would run. So, if it wasn't for Matthew Colville and all those videos that I watched, I wouldn't be running that. I wouldn't be running either one of them, probably. So, Matthew Colville, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for all the help you've provided me. And all the entertainment hours you've given me. Good luck with the rest of Chain of Acheron. Good luck with your new Kickstarter. Kingdoms and Followers. Does that sound right? Yeah, I think I got it. Kingdoms and Followers. Your work on that series means the world to me. It's something that if I have the chance and I have the expertise, I would love to pay forward and pay back to you and pay forward to everybody else tenfold, because it was that important to me. It enabled me to discover that I had a talent for something that I had no idea about. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And as an ode to you, I will end this video by thanking the rest of you for coming and watching this. And I will say to you, Matt, peace out.